Like maybe not even legal, I don't know.
If we reimburse them for funds expended this year, it basically gives us the ability to short fund them this year, which then in turn gives them full funding for this year. It's just,
I mean, they incurred the expenses as defined in the original project. If they incurred expenses that were part of that budget, and now that we fully fund it, there's nothing inappropriate about having them come forward and show what they spent the money on and reimburse them. The Heritage is reimbursement anyway. We usually pay them after they submit bills to us. This wouldn't be any different.
Now, during the grant program that, well, it's not quite in place yet, but maybe at some point in the future here, will that be the same?
Generally, they're reimbursement based. We do make some exceptions for projects when cash flow is an issue, but generally they're all reimbursement.
And I can tell you that the testimony at the CAB meeting at Clark County was very specific that they definitely could use the money. They make it very clear that every single dime that comes into that organization goes right back out onto the ground. And so there's, you know, just like MBU, you know, money's going to go right back on the ground. And I believe that that was also communicated to the committee through Mr. Paul Harris in his testimony as well. Okay, so where does that leave us?
Well, I think where I'm at is I'm just kind of trying to look over a few of these that are some possibilities that we can reallocate that on. So I mean, if any of the other commissioners have any of these that are something that may be of interest to them, then that I think that's kind of where we're at, is we're making a decision as a commission now instead of as a committee. We're back to a commission level.
So we had approximately 102,000 that need to be reallocated, and we have committee recommendations for part of it.
yes.
We have committee recommendations for 62,588. Yes, I believe that is that the
And so now we're talking about the additional
39,638.58.
and that was to go to the ones that you just read off.
So, yeah, those were our possibilities.
And due to a timing issue, I don't see Ken, you must, if we can get,
Well, maybe while we're waiting, Grant, could you go, I hate to backtrack, but go over what the committee recommended spending already. I know it was 1201 you had the recommendation.
1201, we recommended 40,800. 1218, we recommended 8,000 even. 1219 was 3447. 1220, 1221, and 1222 were also 3447. And that, I didn't add those up, but I'm assuming his spreadsheet is right here for a total of 62,588. Is that correct, Patrick?
That's correct.
Which would leave us the balance that we need to reallocate of 39,638.58.
All right. I'm with you.
And then if you don't mind, if you just identify the ones that got back to us again.
Okay. I'm not, well, I'll mention it. 1201, but the committee already recommended allocation.
Other than the ones.
1223 got back to us and said all or part. 1232 got back to us and said 15,000. 1235 got back to us and said 6,000. And 1236 got back to us and said any amount. 1237 for 84.99 or any amount. 1238 for 20,000. And 1239 for any amount.
And I did give you two handouts that look really similar. One was the original FY12 project list with the amounts they requested. The other was the list as the commission approved last year, just to help for reference. Particularly those projects that didn't receive any awards.
Mr. Chairman, upon initial looking at it, 1235 was awarded originally, and to me, that would make sense to give them the 6,000 that they are requesting to maybe make them whole or finish entirely whatever they've got. That would be one on my list of,
Yeah, 1201 and 1235 were the only ones that received funding initially. All the other ones received zero funding.
And then 1236, investigation of cause of specific mortality in mule deer in Nevada. Do you have any comments on that at all, Ken? 1236?
I don't. And Larry, on the 1236, the cause-specific mortality in mule deer, that's
Utah State.
Utah State?
They came forward this year as well.
It says Sedinger on it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm confused. I didn't know whether that is part of the project that we're doing with Tony.
Oh, that's correct. I'm wrong.
1236.
Does it say Humboldt County?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the disease work they're doing, that radiotelemetry work they're doing with the.
No, it's the next one. It's investigation of cause-specific mortality. That's all the mule deer collars that we're currently putting out.
Is that the project?
Oh, yeah, he's helping out, Cody's helping us out, analyze data and collect data.
Would you,
for parts of that.
Jack's asking about that particular project.
And I'm looking at, Grant's already identified 1235. On my list that I'm looking at possibly funding is 1235, 1236, and 1237. If I can get some more information about 36 and 37, that will help me. And maybe, Larry, is that what you're dealing with on 1237? Are you helping on that project, Larry Johnson?
Yeah, 1237, initial field work is going to be completed about in August, and the PhD dissertation will be written after that. But the study is actually going to be carried on as consultants and through the university for a long, many years. This is actually just a start in this. And I think the funds actually were to be expended for an ATV and a trailer to haul it, is what I was told yesterday. And that's my, that's my input on it.
And that'd be an ATV that you or other volunteers would go out and
I
check
have
the
my own.
mortalities. Oh, yeah, but not you, but
I
other
have my own
volunteers.
quads.
Yeah. But, yeah,
Yes, that particularly Allison Andreessen, the PhD student, after she completes her dissertation, would be continuing the study in conjunction with the university and using this equipment.
okay.
Once she completes her dissertation, she can't use the university pickup or the university quad anymore. So that's that
Makes
purpose.
sense.
And the cause-specific mortality is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's the university helping us with the.
I didn't bring hard copy sets of the FY12 projects. This was kind of last minute, but it is on the website under the Heritage Committee, and I pulled up electronic file of all of them, so if you want any information from any of them, I can read it to you.
1237, if you could, how would, to make sure, because it makes sense to me, I understand, it makes sense to me, does it mesh in with the proposed project? Just so we make sure we're covered.
My understanding from the response is it's consistent with the project, but I think they said they didn't ask for the ATV in the original project. Sorry, this is like one massive file with all the projects in it. Give me a second. That was 1237, right?
Yes.
$1237, originally requested $60,000. Volunteer time, No, equipment, 2 ATVs, ATV trailer, field truck material, $20,000. It was part of the original project. She
All right.
stated in her request it wasn't, but it's definitely itemized in there.
So that makes it easier.
Yep.
That's the one that asked for $84.99.
And it,
84.
the duration of the project, through the duration of the project, that rig could be used, but when the project's all over, it would come back to the department? Is that how that process works?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I
Well,
would assume so.
Yeah, all the equipment, whether it's computers or vehicles, that all comes back to the department. It's state money, can't be gifted.
Kind of validating, I wasn't necessarily, because I assumed that that's how it went, but.
Yeah, I was just trying to think about that. We don't buy a lot of equipment under Heritage.
So that's-
Yeah, it should come back to us.
Just for discussion purposes, my thought process right now would be to, on 1235, they've asked for an initial 6,000, give them that 6,000. 1237, they've asked for 84.99, give them that money, and then the remainder go to 1236, which is 85.
It's 25,139.58.
Thank you.
25, 139, 58.
Yeah.
Okay, where am I? Where are we in this process? Do we need to take this out to the public? Or do we have any other comments with respect to,
I think the only thing I've got on that is, since it's kind of uncharted territory, I don't know if we need to backstep to approve extensions on these, or since these are
I think we do.
new allocations, I don't know exactly where we're.
There are 12 projects, I think we need to extend them.
Yeah, I think so.
Agnew, we have an agenda item that allows for us to do extensions, and there are no limitations on that. And would it be okay to just combine in a single motion both the approval of the amounts as well as an extension of the project for 1 year? You see any problem with that? Because we could do it in two separate steps. We could go back to the original motion on extensions and do blanket extensions for them, and then come back and approve the dollars. I just want to know which way we do it.
Award the money and then go back to the other agenda item and extend those if you hadn't already.
I think either way is fine, but the cleaner way is definitely preferred.
The cleaner way is to separate them?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's no point in extending something that isn't approved, so why don't we, we'll look at maybe motion, we got to go out to public, but maybe we'll look at approval first, and then we'll go do extensions. Okay, any additional commission comment, discussion? Okay, I'll take it out to the public. Any public comment on the reallocation of heritage funding for fiscal year 12 and 11? Rex?
Again, speaking for myself, on project 1218, you want to reallocate an extra $8,000 to them. I would ask you to fully fund that at the 16,303 that they were short funded in the original situation.
And that was addressed during our conversation with Paul Harris on the phone. And from the time they submitted the project till current, they changed tank vendors, and the tanks that they are getting are cheaper. And if we fully funded it, there's no way they could give us receipts to show that they spent the money, so that's why they didn't get the full allocation.
When I talked to Paul on Thursday, Thursday, he had not made that comment to me, so
Yeah,
I was
no,
not aware of
and
that.
I think that was a late thing because Paul didn't know it was Clint Bentley, who sits on the committee, that had that information.
Okay,
So we were prepared to fully fund them, but they would have no way to show us the receipts that they received, that they spent that money, so it was kind of a moot point.
like I say, just didn't comment.
Okay. Paul?
Paul Dixon speaking again on behalf of myself. I'd like to thank this commission for actually, first time in several years, looking at the heritage account to fund the things that it was designed to fund. When you read the heritage regulations and not be so focused only on trying to get rid of predators with it, I think you guys have reallocated the money where it deserves to be. Boots on the ground and will make a lot of impact to things other than just predator control, so thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Come on up, Dane.
Dane Bradfield, Lincoln County. One error that I saw in the spreadsheet that we got for the fiscal year 2012 is item 12-40, and we were allotted $60,000, and our actual expenditure was the $13,905, with the remaining $46,095. So we're just entered in backwards for some reason. That's an extra $32,000. And just for informational purposes, we rehabbed a chaining in Unit 231, and BLM came in also and had a bunch of money and did the majority of it, and that's why there is so much money left over from that project for us. So maybe you can give the money back and Corey and I'll do a horse roundup. Maybe that would be a good idea.
Not unless you can do prison time.
I didn't say the methods. Just one other comment from our cab also is for the projects 1218 through 1222. We would also very much like to see those funded. We're very much in support of those, and as was discussed by you, Commissioner Robb, about they've got 5 projects that weren't fully funded for the fiscal year 13, and this money, you know, could be used to help with those projects too.
So Dane, before you sit down, could you give us that number again on the actual expenditure? Those numbers are switched around a little?
Yes, they're just backwards on item 12-40. The fiscal year 12 actual expenditure is $13,905. And the estimated remaining expenditure is the $46,095.
Okay, mine showed, I must have an updated sheet, because mine showed what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, and I talked with Grant about it a little bit yesterday during the break, so, and I think you do have more current information than me. Okay, just want to make that.
So has that been taken into account in these numbers?
Yeah, it's good.
It is? Okay, so we don't have another 40,000?
No.
Okay.
I'm sweating how we're going to get rid of money.
Larry Johnson, NBU, I want to speak in favor of the fraternity projects again. Those are the ones really highest priority in my book. And by the way, we just funded Sheldon $30,000 for removal of horses.
Okay. Any additional public comment? Okay, I think bring it back to the commission then. And I don't know how you want to do this as far as a motion. But what we're going to do is we're going to approve the amounts for the reallocation, and then we'll go back and do the an additional motion on the extension.
Okay. All right. So was there any further comment on those choices that we had there for 12, 35, 37, 36 before I start a motion that we may have issues with?
Okay, so any specific discussion on how the dollars are being reallocated? Commissioner Rain.
I'll throw it out there, a couple more things, aside, of course, from the fact that it appears that everyone in the audience gets to speak twice except for Assemblyman Carpenter, but I guess that's some interesting exception. On these items, you know, there was reasons a couple of these projects didn't get fully funded to begin with. And, you know, you guys are going to prove it anyway, but a couple of these are not, which you've talked about, getting into too great detail, are not great uses of money. The 1237 one, I think that one's basically, it's gonna end where it's gonna end, and this would not serve any legitimate further purpose in this subject. Thank you.
Okay, any additional discussion, comments?
All right. I move to reallocate the $102,226.58 as follows for project 1201 in the amount of $40,800. Project 1218 in the amount of $8,000. Project 1219 in the amount of $34.47. Project 1220 in the amount of $34.47. 1221 in the amount of $34.47. 1222 in the amount of $34.47. 1235 in the amount of $6,000. 1237 in the amount of $8,499. And 1236 in the amount of $25,139.58.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any additional discussion, comments on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 5-3.
Okay, now we gotta go.
Which three was that?
Now,
We have to suspend rules, get back to that agenda item to extend that project.
Well, my question is, Ms. Dagg, since we are still under agenda item 16, do we need to suspend any rules?
I would say no.
Under 16.
It would be my interpretation of this, that these would be all new extensions. You're extending a different amount of money that was not extended before. It would be additional motion.
We didn't extend any money the first time, I believe. We
That's
just
what I mean.
extended.
There was no motion, so there's nothing to retract. There's nothing to retract, it's just another additional motion.
Okay.
Not to help you out or anything, but
Okay.
no additional.
I appreciate it. We were probably going to get there eventually, but I appreciate you saving us some time.
Just make a new motion and
Okay, so we're looking at a motion on an extension.
And I've
Point,
said 16, but I meant 17, so but moot point at this point.
Okay, so if I have this straight, then we need to, I move to extend project number 1235, 1237, and 1236.
Second.
if I could help you out on that a little bit, you might want to go ahead and it extend specifically 12, those weren't the only projects that you did on 1219, 1220, 21, 22. These additional amounts were not in the original extension. There was nothing in there for it to extend. All you extended was the ones that were available for reallocation at that point, right?
I would say that maybe we should move to extend all of these.
Okay,
Just do it right in line of what you approved on the amounts.
okay.
Otherwise, yeah, there could be. I too would hate to revisit this, sir.
All right, starting over. I move to extend project 1201, 1205, 1206, 1218, 1219, 1220, 1221, 1222, 1230, 1235, 1237, and 1236.
Second.
Okay, just for clarification, you added some additional amounts for 1205, you said?
These were ones that had requested extensions that we were,
Yes, that we,
Oh, these are,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I got it. Very good.
Not to confuse the matter further, but I believe a couple of these were already extended and approved with the amounts that are there. It would just be the ones that have new amounts, that have new money, that I would think that this motion should really incorporate, because otherwise we would have to retract them and go back and redo it. So if you just come up with all the ones with the new amounts, just the new stuff we just did,
That's what I did the first time, I thought.
but this was 12-1 with
No, you missed-
40,000?
You missed 12-1 and then 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. You basically just.
Okay, I see.
Okay,
All right, one more time.
it'll help me. I'm with.
You okay? Can I
I
ask,
withdraw my second.
Superwoman over there, are you okay? Kinda.
I think he's gonna get it right now. I think, so far, so
Start
good. I think
again.
we all understand.
Control Alt
I think
Delete.
you're-
Retract and
The
re-begin.
motion and the second have been retracted.
Okay. Yes.
Kinda confused. She wouldn't say it smelled or not.
The additional money,
Wait, he shouldn't be talking. Mike, he shouldn't be talking right now.
You're confusing me. Okay, I move to extend project 1201, 1218, 1219, 1220, 1221, 1222, 1235, 1237, and 1236.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
To clarify, I believe that generally, when these extensions are done, there is an amount of money attached to them. And although it's on a piece of paper, it's also on several pieces of paper. So just to clarify what you're extending, I mean, theoretically, you could extend a project for less than it's actually there for, and so we don't have to revisit this. You might even say for the amounts that are on this piece of paper right here, plus the ones you just approved. I mean, you got to put them, we extended it, but for how much?
But I thought we already approved the how much in the other motion.
Okay. For the amounts that were approved in the previous motion.
Yes.
Okay, just so
Amending your
we're,
motion to that effect?
Yes, I am.
You accept the second?
Yes.
Okay, we're there. Any
Okay.
further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
nay,
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Okay, so now we are at agenda item 17D, fiscal year 2013 Heritage Project Proposals. The commission will hear the recommendations from the Heritage Committee and approve project applications for 2013. Commissioner Wallace?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assuming everyone has the list in front of them. I'm just going to go over what we did for the June meeting. We had a start for the May meeting that we revised at the June committee meeting. So our final recommendation to the commission is for project 1301 in the amount of $77,000. Project 1302 in the amount of $70,000. Project 1303 in the amount of $40,000. Project 1304 in the amount of $65,000. Project 1305 in the amount of $20,000. Project 1306 in the amount of $30,000. Project 1307 in the amount of $13,000. Project 1308 in the amount of $35,000. Project 1309 in the amount of $30,000. Project 1312 in the amount of $30,000. Project 1313, oh, did I mess that up?
Yeah, go back to 1309.
Okay, 1309 was the amount of 30,000. Let me get this paper here. 1309 in the amount of 30,000. 1312 in the amount of 40,000. 1313 in the amount of 30,000. 1315 in the amount of 5,000. 1316 in the amount of 5,000. Project 1317 in the amount of 5,000. 1318 in the amount of 5,000. 1319 in the amount of 5,000. 1323 in the amount of $4,000, 1320 in the amount of $20,000, and 1321 in the amount of $26,796, for a total allocation of $525,796.
Okay. First, I want to thank the Heritage Committee for all this hard work. This got to be a tough process to look at all these wonderful projects and figure out which ones get funded and then how much. So obviously, wish we had more money. Okay, any discussion, comments from the commission with regard to the proposal by the Heritage Committee with respect to the 2013 Heritage Funds? Commissioner Rob?
I sit on the committee and I still argue with myself on some of this stuff. And when we were done with the fraternity on the phone the other day, we had Clint and Paul Harris on the phone. They said that if we didn't give them any money on the water development, they were going to make it work. And then we had some discussion. We had 5,000 more. And we said, hey, if we give you 5,000, that's seed money towards that project. But I'm looking at this and, you know, they made a commitment that they were going to go forward without the 5,000. They told us that on the phone. And there is a project, 1321, Eureka County Wildlife Habitat Enhancement Project, that we short funded a bunch, and that's a Pinyon Juniper encroachment project. I don't like backtracking on the fraternity, but if I was to make a motion, I'd probably take that 5,000 from the fraternity and drop it down to 1321, but I'm just putting that out there for discussion. I'll be blunt with this. Part of my reasoning for that is Chad Bliss has asked me about this project multiple times. It's kind of hard to tell the guy that helped put $400,000 plus in the heritage account we're not going to give him a little bit extra money. There's no two ways around it. That 5,000 isn't much compared to what they're asking for the project. I'd like to put it down there and encourage Eureka County to apply for that money again next year. And maybe we can start continuing to shuffle money that direction. But there it is.
This one. And just to be clear, you're speaking of project 1315?
Yeah, I'm thinking of 1315, taking that to zero and increasing 1321 to 31,796. With a note to Eureka County, and we have a couple people from Eureka County here to hopefully apply next year and get additional funds next year.
Mr. Shum, you had a question?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a question. I'm looking at 1312 and 1313, both of them, of course, being done by Carl Lackey. And since he's our bear expert, it would seem to me if we tied both those, or why he didn't tie both those into just one proposal, and we could have got a better deal on it. We're spending, as it is now, we're spending $40,000 on one and $30,000 on another. Is there any reason why they couldn't have been combined, why he didn't combine them into one for, get two for the price of one?
I believe that's two different vendors we're working with.
Exactly.
Is it?
Yeah, the DNA processing is a whole different procedure than the reproductive success, which he'll be working with Dr. Beckman. So.
Oh, because it's under Carl Lackey's name, but it's done by a different person.
Yeah, he's working with a cooperator.
I don't, was there anything further?
Pardon?
You okay with that answer?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess going back to Commissioner Rob's proposal on 1315, the project at issue there is, in effect, a rebuild and actually a moving of of one of the top projects in the Muddies that supports a tremendous number of sheep. We've got more sheep in that unit than any other unit. And what they're proposing to do is actually construct, they've gotten permission from the BLM to, in an area that's adjacent to where an actual water, is it correct to call them a guzzler? What do we call them?
Guzzler.
Guzzler. There's already a guzzler there that's an older guzzler and is not basically able to provide sufficient water for the number of sheep out there. And so what they're going to do is they're going to build a new guzzler that has the full capacity, a bigger apron, and get that up and running. But at the same time, they're going to keep that other one going as well. And then as soon as the sheep acclimate to the new, the new guzzler, then they're going to tear down and remove this guzzler. So it's a very important project, and again, just want to remind everybody that this organization, raises funds, doesn't raise near as much as a lot of other organizations, but every dime that they do raise, they put on the ground on projects out there. And so, this is a project that needs to occur. So I'm, even though they say don't need it, I'm a little confused, because I know that they're moving forward with the project and that they really do need the money, to get the project done. So I just mentioned that. Without Paul Harris being here, he basically decided not to come because he advised me that he was happy with what the committee had recommended to him in the discussions they had. Go ahead, Commissioner Rob.
I fully understand what you're saying, and I have had multiple conversations with Paul. And at the end of our meeting the other day, he basically, with the reallocation of the money the year before, the funding this year, he was really satisfied with where we're at, and he can work with other nonprofits to try to get this money. Like I said, I don't like going backwards on something like this, and it was my idea to give the $5,000 after they said they didn't need it. But I'm thinking of who I have to look in the face. I can tell Paul that it went to Eureka County, and he will understand. That's my opinion. And not only did Paul and the fraternity do a bunch, but Chad's done a bunch, and he's asked for something, and I'd hate to ignore that request also.
And considering what we just did, I think that, about, 13,000 or some odd, I think.
On the helicopter flights from last year.
Well, went back to them here as part of the Guzzler projects, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming out about $8,000 ahead anyway. They're still
Go ahead.
I'm not going to disagree with Commissioner Rob. I have a little anxiety in going back on what we'd done as well, but he did say that project was going to go forward with or without the funding. That was what I got from the phone, not being in the same room, but from the conversation over the phone. So
okay. Then what I'll say is that also in discussing this with Paul Harris of the fraternity, he said because of the fact that the project numbers that they put together included the removal of the other facility, that it's a multi-year project. And so I would just request that the commission and the committee keep that in mind next year, because I think what they can do is they can come back with an additional request to supplement that project. And, so if we do reallocate the 5,000, I think we have additional opportunity, but I do want to reiterate that, one way or the other, that they're going to need money to get that project done, and it's a very, very important project because, as I've said, that unit is supporting a tremendous number of sheep and probably our most prolific, sheep unit, and it has this particular guzzler just gets hammered by those sheep, and so that's why they need to make this, get this project done. So anyway, I'll just make that comment, but I think with that explanation, I can support Commissioner Rob's.
Larry? Can I get some help here?
You bet.
Larry, can you come up, Mr. Johnson?
You are live. Come up.
The chairperson gives you permission. You're not an assemblyman, you're allowed.
You are the NBU representative today?
Oh, he put you on.
And I've put you on the spot before during Heritage.
Yes, we'll write them a check.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I think we need to, any further commission comment or discussion? We've got the proposal from Vice Chairman Robb, and I think we need to take it out to public, get some public comment on these heritage proposals and the proposals of the Heritage Committee. So anybody have any, Rex, come on up first, then Gil.
Our, Rex Flowers, Wallace County, our board made a suggestion that you take project 1304 and reduce that from 65 to 45,000, and 1309, reduce that from 30 to 20. We base this on, these are habitat projects. There's Dream Tag money, funding coming available that they can make application there, and that would free up quite a bit of money. We had suggested then some of that money go to item 1301, and then money go into 1315. Again, we're going to really be big about wanting to push for 1315 to get funding. As you know, it is the Muddies. It's 900 sheep, and they have to have water. And I realize NBU's willing to step up to the plate and write a check, but there are other sources of funding for some of these other projects. Thank you.
For the record, Giliana Carson, Advisory Board. We were kind of favoring projects 1303, 1309, and 1321 significantly, as Commissioner Robb talked about. 1321 really got axed quite a bit. Got a great haircut on that one. So I don't know, it's hard to, when you only got X dollars, how do you spread it around most efficiently? And since those three projects that I enumerated were primarily habitat improvement for sage grouse, and since we want to try to make a good impression on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as to where we're spending our money and where we're focusing our activities, we think that's critical to show them how we're allocating some of the funds. I mean, when you talk about sheep and other animals, my heart goes out to all of them, and I wish we could have unlimited funds to cover all of these projects, but some of them got really cut. And so I don't know what, I'm glad I'm not in your place, put it that way. Tough decision to make, because they're all, when I look at it as a sportsman, they're all equally important. But I guess how you rank these and how you prioritize them, I guess you have to look at which dollars gets the biggest savings to the particular species the most. And I'm not qualified to make those decisions. I just look at it from a selfish interest of having worked on sage grouse for 10 years. You know, I got a tie to them, and if I was a sheep hunter, I guess I'd go the other way. So I just make it comment from our board. We were looking to do something for the sage grouse. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Dane?
Dane Bradfield, Lincoln County. We wanted to express support and more funding for items 1316 through 1319, which actually in the updated report we're given some more money, and we're very much in support of those those projects getting some more money. In the project that we had put in for 1323 for the amount of $4,000, we're happy with that. It actually came back. We've been working with Tony Wasley, and we've been informed that that's the amount that we needed to complete that project for that recovery data. We were also wanted to see some funding go to 1315, the Muddy Mountains water development. We know that is a critical sheep area. With things that have happened in here, you know, on the previous item, we realize some funds have been released for that. And we're just in support of that project happening however it does. On a personal view, though, I also understand the importance of pinyon juniper encroachment reduction, and I think that's an important project too, as we run in the same problem in Lincoln County. So we wanted to express our support for those other items.
Okay, thank you. Any additional public cap comment? Okay, bringing it back to the commission.
There's a reason I picked on Larry, and that's because I used to be part of that group, and their main mission is putting sheep on the mountain, not doing pinyon juniper encroachment removal. You know, 2,200 people show up to a dinner believing in sheep on the mountain and Guzzler Project, so I believe that by shorting that, we're not shorting that project going forward. That is a crucial project, I realize that, but I believe there's funding sources out there, and we're not cutting it off.
Okay. Any additional commission comment? Commissioner Ray, was that a hand? Oh, that was a no. Okay. I guess we're looking for a motion then.
You ready? I move to approve the Heritage Committee's recommended list for the dollar amounts they stated. Total $525,796.
Okay, we had.
No adjustments.
Huh? No adjustments.
No. That's my motion.
Okay, you got a second?
I don't know.
I'll second that.
A motion, a second. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I won't be able to support it. I think that we have a path forward with Project 1315, considering what we did on the previous item and MBU's commitment to helping out with that project. I'm more than willing to move the 5,000 from there down to 1321.
And I take that one as well. So,
Take the vote, we'll go again.
you want to just vote on this then?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion fails. Looking for another motion. Commissioner Wallace?
I'll do it. Move to approve the Heritage Committee recommendation list for fiscal year 2013 as presented, with the exception of removing the funding from 1315 and moving it to 1321 to make 1321's total $31,796.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Okay. You want to take a little break?
Well, I can also make a suggestion. that might be good. I know that people have some of a 5-hour drive or 4.5, or even way longer. On the report part of this thing, the one thing we do need to get done is D, because I think it's important that the commission hear about the trapping review update that the department did. Is just kind of a straw dog for people to start to think about. And then if there's anything else on this list of information reports that you really needed or wanted to hear about, but I would just suggest that you make a decision. The other things we can click through pretty quickly.
Okay, I have no problem with that. We've already done E, and we definitely need to do D. And I have something on 19, and then we have to do 20 and 21, so that probably makes a lot of sense. But can we take a 5-minute break? Let's take a 5-minute break.